Hey guys, back at you with another vid. Today I'm going to be doing the 2-year review on the Polaris Ranger 570 EFI. So this is a 2021 model that we got back in March of 2021. So I'm going to be showing you some of the pros and cons of this side-by-side. To start off with the pros, it rides really, really good. The Polaris suspension that comes on it it's right around 10 inches on the front and 10 inches in the rear. I actually have it stiffened all the way up in the front just so that it'll sit higher, and it still rides pretty good, but it has more suspension travel when it's stiffened up. So let's start with the tires. These are the standard stock tires that come on it. They're the if you can see down there, the Carlisle. They're 25s, so they're not huge, but they work. Let's go back here on the back. We also have the Carlisle, the 25s on the rear. We've got let's go look so I can give you a very accurate reading. So we got 193 hours and 1,019 miles on it. So this, while I'm up here, I'll go ahead and show you this gauge. So you got your transmission, what gear you're in, indicator over here. So I'm in park right now. And then it's also got a fuel gauge. One thing about this thing that is a massive pro, it is extremely fuel efficient. You can actually get, and I have tested this, you can get right around anywhere between 80 and 100 miles depending on how you ride it. If you ride it slow and low gear and just around the yard, you can get right at 100 miles to a tank. If you're riding really fast and hard, you can get right around 80 miles to a tank. So you also got your time on here. That's the miles. You've got your trip, and you can reset this whenever by just holding down this button back to 0. And then you got your RPM, your engine temperature, and your DC voltage on your battery, and then your hours. And also your service indicator right there. Hold on, I passed it. You can set this after you get a service, and you can set that to however long you want to remind you go back and get another service for oil change, air filter, all things like that. So here, moving on over, we got the 4-wheel drive, has turf mode, and then 2-wheel drive, and then 4-wheel drive. That's 2, that's 4. I like to keep it in turf just so it unlocks the differential, because in the yard it makes a massive difference. It doesn't tear up the grass hardly at all in turf mode with the differential unlocked, but when you do lock the differential like that, it actually is also harder to turn. So especially with this being the non-XP model, as you can see, it's not the XP model, so it doesn't have the power steering. That is a con that we really wish we would have gotten, was the power steering. I would definitely recommend getting that, just because it does make it a lot easier to steer. Here we've got your off, and then you go from off to your lights on, and then lights off, and then you turn it and start. And you do have to have your foot on the brake to do that. Move on over, you got your just center dash with, like, you can put stuff in here like phone or anything like that. Then you got this over here, this compartment. I've got all kinds of tools and things in there. Charger cord that you can plug in this 12-volt outlet, charge your phone. You've actually got a cup holder here and a cup holder here, so you got 2 cup holders up here. Got another little storage thing there and another one here so you can put stuff in. And you do have one down here by the driver's foot. You can also lift up this seat. I've just got like an axe and things in here for if I'm ever out on the trail and need to use it for anything. You can store stuff in there, and it does have drains. I actually took those out and not sure where they went, but those, you can actually use it for a cooler also, so that's like a 2-in-1 kind of thing. For the driver, you do have to be wearing this seatbelt anytime you want to go over 15 miles an hour. It limits you to 15 if you don't have the seatbelt on. Moving on back, we've got the rear seat. We do have the nets on the side on this one, on front and back, so they just pop in right here and like that. Fairly easy to do. You also can lift up this rear seat to get to your battery and your fuel tank over there, and also wash out any of that stuff down there. You got all your wiring and all that for your all your stuff to go up to the front also. So you just got to move these these seatbelt things out of the way to get, if I can get it with one hand, to lean the seat down. You do have plenty of room back here in the back. It's not too cramped. It's not. You do have also a grab handle for your rear passengers. Moving on back, we got the back of it. We got a pretty large size bed. It is pretty decent size. Also, it's got the latches. It ain't like the 1000. It just has your handle that you can grab. You got your latches. Here, I'll let this bed down like that. One of the big cons of this thing that I have noticed is your handle right here. So you only have it on one side, but the biggest problem with this, and Polaris has had problems with this ever since probably about, I'd say 2015 or 2016, with the handle. When you go up, it doesn't want to unlatch the bed. So you have to pull up really hard and pull up, because this other side over here does not like to unlatch. So also, when you put it back down, you have to pull up on this handle, push it down, and then also go over the other side and pull it down, because it does not like to latch sometimes. So up under your bed, you have your air box. You can open that up. You should open these two latches, and then you have a clamp to get your air filter off to clean that. Here's your rear shocks. I actually have them stiffened all the way up also, as you can see, just to have more suspension travel, sit up higher, things like that. I wouldn't recommend stiffing up your suspension. Let me get this bed down. As you can see, it is kind of a pain. You do have to push that lever. Sorry. I wouldn't recommend stiffening those rear shocks up, just because after a while it does start to make them less stiff, because the springs get worn out. So if you ever want to go on a trail ride and stiffen those up just so you have more suspension clearance, or clearance on rocks and things like that, and have more suspension travel, I would recommend not leaving them stiffened. I would recommend loosening them back up when you get home, just so they don't wear out, because that has happened on ours. When we first got it, it was set up just like that on the softest setting, and now it's like that on the stiffest, so it has worn out the suspension a little bit. Also, you have a 9-gallon fuel tank, so plenty of fuel. Like I said, you can get about 100 miles to a gallon if you take it easy. Moving over to the passenger side, got the things all the way around the nets. Go ahead and open up this front. You should take these latches off on either side, and then lift this. Do have just the regular Polaris lights on here. They're non-LED, because they're just the standard ones. I might get some LED bulbs to put in here. All you got to do is twist this, and then they come right out, just as so. So that's easy enough. And then you just twist them back like that. Moving on over, one thing I would recommend is when we first got it, I did not know this, and the coolant, I let it get way down to the bottom. This is actually just your what they call recovery bottle. It's just for when there builds up enough pressure in here, and then that's your overflow basically. When it was a new system and purging itself, basically, it drained all the coolant out of there and hadn't had any coolant in that bottle for about 2 years, and we did not know that. So the other day I filled it back up, not knowing that had happened. Moving on over, so I think you can plug something into these. Not sure about what those actually go to, but we don't have a winch on it currently. As you can see, it just came with the standard Polaris bumper. Do got my little tag on here. You can put a winch behind this tag that actually goes back down here. Actually, it comes through right here through this plastic. We don't have one right now, but we are planning on getting one here soon. It always is definitely something you would like on a trail just to have, because it does sometimes, if you ever get stuck, it ain't good if you're way out somewhere. So anyway, what else? Oh, top speed on this thing is roughly right around 50. I've had it right at 51 before, out on the main road. But if you're on like on a flat ground and you have it all the way to the floor, it'll run about 52 to 53. Also, one thing, when we first got this, we have never replaced a belt on this thing. Do the break-in period very well, because if you keep it in low, like that, just like that, if you keep it in low and break it in right, the belt will last a long time. The belt is still in great shape, and it's got roughly around 1,000 miles on it. So that is one thing you do want to do correctly, is do a break-in period on it. It'll run right around 20, I think right around 22 to 23 in low. So that is pretty good speed in low, and it does have a lot of power in low. Four-wheel drive works great. The rear wheels lock, and then once the rear wheels start to spin, it will pull the front wheels, and then as soon as they stop spinning, it disengages the four-wheel drive. So that is one thing that is great about the Polaris four-wheel drive system. It works phenomenally. One of the cons on this thing is we have had to take it back to the dealer for this. Has kept coming off, and the glue will wear out, and then this comes out from under here, and the windshield bangs against the plastic, as you can see. I don't know if you can see that right through there, but it does that really bad. Another con is this blows out up here. This, I guess, weather stripping, I guess you could call it, kind of material up here, it blows out from up here, and it's happened several times, and we've had the dealer fix it, but it just keeps doing that. So I don't know what the problem is with that is, but we're just leaving it for right now, just because it ain't hurting anything. We also have the rear view mirror on the roof up here. That is something I would say get, because sometimes it can help you when you're backing up. It's not a must-have option, but it's not super expensive either, so I would recommend it. We also did get, when we purchased this Ranger, we got the Polaris hitch, and you can also put like a garden cart or anything like that on here for just around the yard kind of work. And you got your 2-inch ball here. I think it's rated at 3,500 pounds. And this hitch receiver is actually for any 2-inch hitch. This can pull a maximum weight of right around 1,500 pounds. Let me latch this real quick. The maximum weight is right around 1,500 pounds. I think the tongue weight is, let's see, the tongue hitch vertical weight, tongue weight is 150 pounds, and then the max trailer weight is 1,500 pounds. So pretty good for a 570. Your max bed weight, as you can see here, is 500 pounds, and the max weight capacity total is 1,250 pounds. So, because this is the 570 mid-size crew. It's not the full size. The full size was a bit wider. It's like 1.5 inches or 2 inches on each side was wider, and you could, Polaris says you can fit 6 people, but it's tight. On this one, you can fit 4 comfortably and a really small person in the middle. So the most we've ever had in this thing was 7 people. Had 5, no, we had actually 8 people. 6 up here, 3 across on each, and then 2 people in the back. And it carried them like a champ. But suspension was having a hard time, but the engine had plenty of power. Also, another thing is we did get the roof for this. I would definitely recommend getting a roof and a windshield. The windshield is probably even bigger than the roof, just because, actually, let me latch this. Sometimes those will come off. The windshield you definitely won't, especially on a cold day when you're riding, that cold air isn't blowing on you. I definitely recommend that. But other than that, it's been a great machine. I would definitely recommend it. I haven't ever had another side-by-side like a Can-Am or anything like that to compare it to, but from what I've seen other friends that have them, the Polaris definitely outworks them as far as suspension and speed, I guess, just because it four-wheel drive system on this thing is better than any other side-by-side I've seen. So it is a great machine. I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it a solid 8.5. Just because of some of the cons on it that they need to fix. Some of the things I don't like. But other than that, it's been a great machine, and we have 193 hours, 1,019 miles, 193. Hold on, let me tell you for sure. 193 hours, and it's been great for us. So there you go, Polaris 570 2-year review.